everybody. I just wrapped up my first ever official shooting competition, at least day one of a 2-day event, the America Match at beautiful Fernand Rod and Gun on beautiful Lake Fernand. I wanted to give some of my, experiences, reflections, takeaways, because today was an entirely new experience for me. Made some good shots, made some bad shots, made some mistakes. Thankfully, big goal for today, not get disqualified, don't put anybody in danger, and I checked that box, although barely, which I'll get to in a second. So I thought I would just kind of take it from the beginning. So last night, we'll start there. I didn't really know what to expect. Man, I was kind of shuffling around my house, trying to put together everything that I thought I could need for my first shooting competition. I will say at the end of the day, what I ended up using the most is you need something to transport all your stuff. A lot of the guys had little wagons, like off-road wagons or something like that. One guy that I will give him a lot of credit for that I thought was brilliant is he had an off-road stroller. He had his range bag where the baby would go. And then he had 2 sets of 4-wheeler mounts on the arms of the stroller with his rifles in the 4-wheeler mounts. Man, dude, he was cruising around. I thought that was absolutely genius. Now, me on the other hand, we're on a road. It's gonna be what it is. We're doing this in one take. So me on the other hand, I had a hard case, I had my rifle, I had all of my ammunition in that hard case along with all of my magazines. Today, I brought 5 mags. I only ended up actually using 3 at any given time, but I had a few extra in there, which I'm glad I did. And then also so that was all my hard case, which I just carried around. It had wheels, but it was gravelly, so that didn't really work very well. But I honestly, I just carried it around. It was completely fine. That worked really well, and kept everything kind of organized. Then I also had a backpack. In my backpack, I had water, I had brown masking tape because as a group, everybody goes out in masks after each competitor. So brown masking tape was key. I'm really glad that I had that today. I had like different eye pro, different ear pro. I had an extra shirt. I had stuff like for allergies because my last thing I wanted was like itchy eyes. I'm trying to shoot, so I had some eye drops and some allergy meds, tissues, stuff like that. But I really didn't even use any of that. The day went really, really smoothly from that point. And then in the car, dude, I just brought like everything I could possibly think of, extra gear, extra everything. I have a cooler, which cooler was clutch. I had a cooler in the back of my car with ice and drinks and water and everything. So that way, like as we were walking by the lot or like lunch, I was grabbing cold drinks, buddies threw drinks in there. I will recommend that. That went really well. And then when I got here, I also didn't know what to do. So, I parked, I'm just looking around. I'm like kind of getting my battle belt on and just kind of watching guys, and went and checked in at the clubhouse. And then after that, honestly, I just stood around and waited until the overall safety briefing. Safety briefing went over the overall rules. And then from there, we split into our squads and went to our individual stages. So I was squad 2. We started at I can't remember which exact stage it was. We'll call it stage 1 for purposes of this video. So we're starting at stage 1. So my first ever competitive shooting stage, and this thing looks complex as hell. Encountering an obstacle that I've never encountered before, which is the swingers, which is when you step on a plate, or if they're activated in some way, targets start swinging back and forth. For ours, they were ducking behind cover and then coming back out, so you had to time that shoot. And then it was a retreating course, which means you started at the front and then you're making your shots and you're moving backwards as you make those shots, which as a new shooter, definitely gonna challenge you with the 180-degree rule. Now, 180-degree rule, you probably, if you've heard of it or if you aren't familiar with competitive shooting, what that means is that when you're standing on the range, people are behind you, you're shooting that way, 180 degrees. So on each side of you, if your barrel breaks that plane, you can be disqualified, or you will be disqualified in any like USPSA or anything like that. So that is kind of a challenge in a retreating course because you have to really make sure that you're staying facing straight. We got some footage of me shooting this run, so we'll probably lace that in here or I'll post that separately. So I was second to shoot. So I got to, so my first ever stage, second to shoot, complicated course. I watched the first guy, see how he does it. So that gave me a little bit of some prediction, but not much. So thankfully on this run, I stepped up, bam, stepped on the box, nailed the swingers. There was also another very challenging aspect, which was they had some clay pigeons on a no shoot, which means a area that you're not allowed to hit or you get a penalty. And so you have to know your holdovers and hit that clay pigeon, which is a pretty small target. So that was challenging, but nailed those. And then I in order to protect that 180 rule, I just walked backwards and just shot targets as I walked backwards. Never tried to sprint or turn. I just kind of took my time a little bit and got done. If you're brand new to shooting, I also, I'm kind of unfamiliar with how the start and the stop works. So I want to maybe walk through that just a little bit. So in competitive shooting, when you first step up to the start line, if you will, you have a range officer next to you. He's got the timer. You're going to have oftentimes a chamber flag in your weapon. You're going to have your magazine on you, but not loaded. And so as soon as the range is clear, range officer says you're ready to go, you can make ready. To make ready, you're going to pull your bolt carrier group back, take out your chamber flag. You're going to put in a magazine. You're going to let that go forward. So you're going to load the gun. You're going to get in your stance. You're going to get ready, low ready, or some different positions were required today, but most of the time low ready. And then they're going to say like shooter ready, making sure that you understand the course of fire, you know what you're doing, you're safe. You can say shooter ready and they'll say stand by, beep, timer goes and you take off. And then when you're done, so when you're done shooting after you crack off your last shot, okay, they're going to say show clear, or unload the gun, show clear. So you're going to drop your magazine and clear the round that's in the chamber if you're not at a bolt lock. And then you're going to put your chamber flag back in and close the barrel, close your bolt carrier group so that you can show the gun is safe. So that's how you end it. So that was the first time. I've never actually done that before. And I am super, super excited and proud to say that I actually got a clean shoot on my first stage ever of my first competition, which means I hit all the targets appropriately. I didn't hit any no shoots. I didn't have any misses. I neutralized all the targets. It was perfect shoot, if you will, or clean shoot. And so for today's rules, it was just 2 shots on each target to neutralize the target, or 1 in the alpha zone, which is kind of the very center. And so clean shoot, I was riding high. To be completely honest, that was actually one of the highest rushes I've had in quite a while. Like my heart rate was up. I'm interested to see the data on my Whoop of where my heart rate was, but I was so stoked. So after your stage is done, you can kind of walk through if they have any questions about any of your shots. You talk about that, then they tape off everything. You go to the back, everyone clears, they reset, the next person shoots. Just from now, because it's a new experience to me, something I didn't really know how it was going to work. But basically, when you're not shooting, you can kind of do whatever you want as long as you're safely behind the line or whatever, if you want to go to the bathroom or get a drink or whatever. But most of the guys are hanging out watching, and then also they have tape and they're ready to go as soon as that shooter is done. Everybody kind of attacks the course, gets everything taped up. And some I think are staff reset, which means you don't do anything. Today's was a participant reset. So that means that everybody helped reset the course for the next shooter, which made it go really quickly. We had a great group, great range officer. And then after that stage, we moved on to stage 2. Stage 2 was a bit of a challenge because it incorporated some new rules. So for me, I'd never heard of Virginia rules. Virginia scoring, I should say, means that you shoot 1 shot on each target, no extra shots or penalties. So you need 1 shot on each target. Now for this layout, there was 3 targets on each side leading up a 50-yard range. And then there was a 6-plate rack, steel plates in the back. On the first string of fire, which I learned, it's a 1 stage, 2 strings of fire. You pause in between them. First one, you could shoot everything in any order. You had to knock down all the steel and then 1 shot at each target. Then you'd reset. You could switch mags or whatever you need to do. Re-beep. Now in this time, you had to go 1 steel, neutralize the target. So we switched rules and now it's 2 shots on each target. Neutralize the steel, 2 shots. Neutralize the steel, 2 shots. You get it, right? Got done with that. feeling really good about it. Besides, the plate rack got a little bit frustrating because I was hitting low on one just like over and over, 4 or 5 shots, and then finally got it. Feeling pretty good, but then unfortunately that means that there should be 3 shots on each of the paper targets. There were 2 targets where I only had 2 shots because I didn't double tap them the second time. My fault. I just wasn't clear about what I was doing and wasn't focused, I guess. And so what that meant is that was a failure to neutralize, which a failure to neutralize means you didn't either hit in the A zone or you didn't hit it enough times. And so that is a 10-second penalty for each failure to neutralize. So that was a 20-second penalty on that one after coming off of like high expectations my first run. I was like, yeah, I got a perfect. Cool, I'm gonna get perfect this whole day. No, 20-second penalty immediately on the second run. We went to the third run. Third run was crazy. Third stage, I should say. Third stage was crazy. Third stage had a wall with 10 targets popping out from all angles of this wall with no shoots mixed into them. And you were shooting from behind 2 sets of barrels. So you had to lean way left, shoot some of those, lean way right, shoot some of those, and there was just all these targets. Then you had a choice to make. After you engaged that, you ran up, and there was a choice. You could either go over to the left to an obstacle, engage 2 close, 3 far, and then sprint back over to the right and do 2 short, 3 far. That was one option. Or after clearing the center array, you could run up and there was holes in a board. You had to shoot right, shoot left, short, and then you could lay down and you could engage the far ones through the holes in the board. They were pretty small though, so I actually chose option number 1. So I did really, really well on the array. I started left, which as a right shooter is a little harder. So I started left and I just went 1 shot to the head box of each of those to neutralize those. Half of them came on the other side, did the other half, decided I was gonna do a mag change on the run. So I'm going to the running, boom, mag change, first object, short, neutralize those, hit my long targets, and here's where I almost got sent home for the day. So running right to left as a right-handed shooter, normally when we practice, we run and I carry straight down to the ground and then back up. But when you're running straight right to left with the gun pointed straight down on that 180-degree line, that barrel, I mean, if it even drifts an inch to the left, you've crossed that 180-degree line. And so as I'm turning, the very nice range officer who's very understanding because it was my first competition, and also it was a kind of a scramble match, if you will, or not scramble, kind of a little more casual. It was not official, it's not a national championship or anything. He's like, oh, barrel. And so then I quickly angled it to the right as I was making that run because it almost broke that 180-degree line, which would have, in another competition, would have DQ'd me. I would have been sent home, donezo, done for the match. It's it. Which you can imagine, like I'm just driving 5 minutes from home. But if you're flying across the country, competing in a match, and you do that and you get sent home, that could be very frustrating. But it's a safety thing. So thankfully, he did not DQ me. I made my way to the other side, neutralized those, hit the long ones, cleared, done. On that one, I had one that I missed just a little bit high, didn't get in the perforations for a headshot. And I think I just had 1 miss. Yeah, just had the 1 miss on that one. So that was a pretty good run. Okay, stage 3 was a blast. Our range officer had designed this one, so stage 3 was so much fun. It was set up, it's called Taking the 88s, and it was set up like a World War II stage or something. And so you actually had to start, gun cleared, throw a grenade over a barrier. You can't see, but you're trying to make it in a tire that's over there. You can't see the tire. So you throw a grenade, you move to the first port or window, load your gun, target's there. Some really tight, really tight shooting spots on that one, on the targets. The no-shoots were right up to the top. So very, very tight. Got to know your holdovers. And then after you engage those targets, drop mandatory mag change. You're moving then left to right, or you can go right to left, but I'm not making that mistake again. So left to right, and there were clay pigeons on the ground that were landmines. So you could not step on a landmine, otherwise you got 10 seconds added to your score. Go to the middle window or port, which was actually a ripped off car door. So you're engaging through the car door. Then you're moving to the right. Again, mandatory mag change on the right, through the port, engage targets, clear and done. That one went really, really well. Two things happened. Number one, on my first mag change, I did not seat my mag as well as I should have. I get up to the window, magazine falls out on the ground. Worst. So pick it up, reload it, hit those clean, and then I move over to the third window, and I'm set on the window. I hit my first shot great, but then with that first shot, as I go to tap again, the gun, whatever was part was resting on my gun there, slipped, and it went right into the no-shoot, so just killed the hostage right there. And so I re-engaged that target, thankfully, so I didn't get a failure to neutralize, because if you hit a no-shoot, still got to shoot again, make sure you get 2 on that brown target. Cleaned out the rest and was done. So just had the 1 no-shoot on that one, which was unfortunate, but it's all right. I can already tell I'm already being like very hard on myself about like little misses, because I've always had a very high standard for myself. So like I expect perfection of every single stage ever, which is not a reality. And there were, some really amazing shooters here today who were also getting no shoots and also getting misses, and because we're moving fast and we're trying to get good times. And so that was stage 3. Stage 4 was, oh gosh, no, let's see, that was 1, 2, 3, that was 4. So that was 4 stages. So then we had lunch, burgers and hot dogs, awesome. Came back, stage 5 was kind of a special treat, because stage 5 started with getting to shoot the fully automatic Gen 12 shotgun by Genesis Arms. Genesis was one of the sponsors out here. If you haven't seen the Gen 12, it is an absolutely incredible gun. Sorry, got a lot of wind here. An absolutely incredible gun. And so we got to start out shooting full auto with the Gen 12, which was absolutely incredible. So I don't know how many times I can say incredible. It really was. Knocked down steel targets, full auto, feel like a badass, big grins for everybody after that one. Actually didn't even have anything to do with the stage. You got no points, no bonuses or anything. It was just a part of the fun. And then you move over. This stage was also difficult because you had some really long, really small windows to hit on your targets. And you had to engage them from on the very edge of the barrier, leaning all the way over. That one, I actually felt like I shot extremely well. I had a good game plan of how I was going to use my LPVO, because you had a combination of long shots and short shots. So I used my LPVO well. I had a good game plan, had a good mag change. I really thought I ran that one well. 2 things. One, I was just a tiny bit low on one of my short shots, and it nicked the top of the no-shoot, which was that was my fault. I didn't have my holdover high enough. And so I got a no-shoot and a failure to neutralize there. And then one in the back, I missed one of my 2 shots. And so I got a miss there. But so overall, not too bad. Last stage of the day, 6 stages today, 3 tomorrow. Last stage of the day was my favorite. It was a shoot house. So I actually had my camera in my chest rig and it turned off, so I did not get the footage, unfortunately, on this one, and we couldn't go in there and film for safety reasons. So I'm super sad that I missed this one, but it was my favorite shoot. You start at the door, and as you go through the door, you have targets on the walls, and it's like clearing a house. And there were sneaky ones, man. There were some behind barrels in very corners. There were some down low as you entered a room. Dude, they were all over the place. This is the other spot where I almost got sent home for the weekend. So first of all, I came in, LPVO was great. Primary arms, 1 to 6 with the red dot, which is awesome. Comes even on short range. It's just a big picture window with a red dot. So basically running a red dot in there. Hit all of my shots great in the first room, but as you're leaving the first room, there's a door that you have to hit a target in a different room. Completely missed it, so I got a failure to engage on that one. Just blew right by it. As I'm going down the hall, clearing each room, getting all my targets. There's a hallway and there's 3 targets into the back room. But then you go right and you actually come back into kind of the end of that hallway as you come across it. Well, in doing that, you're presented with a target that you actually shoot from the hallway in the beginning, but it's angled. And so as I came in, I shot that as well. Well, when you come into that hallway or that door frame, and when I shot that, it is right on the 180 line. Even though you're in a house, you got walls and everything, still need to know you're 180 degree, even in a shoot house. And so I engaged that target, which again was right on the 180. We were not supposed to engage it. He said, listen, I'm not going to send you home because it's very close, but just know that. So, close. Almost got sent home twice. And then finished that round out really, really, really well. So I didn't actually get a penalty for shooting that target again. I just had the one failure to engage. So still a pretty clean shoot on that one. Just a couple very hairline things that if we would have had a less understanding range officer, or if this had been a very strict competition, I probably would have got booted. So they always say that in your first competition, the goal is to just not get disqualified. I completed the day, 6 stages, did not get disqualified, barely. I almost did, but I learned so much today. Honestly, just all of the things that I explained to you. If I had done this video before we started, which I should have done a pre-reflections, but if I'd done this before, I would have not known what any of that meant. Failure to engage. I would not have known the swingers, how those work. I would not have ever, I've never shot like steel plates at a distance, small ones like that on the rack. I've never done a shoot house before. That was brand new to me. Working on really leaning around objects, working at very, very close range. There was so much that I learned today. Overall, just an absolutely incredibly positive experience. I cannot tell you how much fun I had today. Had some great buddies run the day with me. We had phenomenal range officers. The whole thing was put so well together. Even just from the makeup, like the quality of the fences and the targets, incredibly well done. Incredible, obviously, is the word of the day. But I cannot wait for tomorrow. I'm excited to take what I've learned today and now apply that moving forward because frankly, just the experience of showing up today made this a huge win for me. Definitely had my butterflies last night. And so if you're interested in competitive shooting at all, I highly recommend that you at least show up, practice and know how to be safe on the range. But even if you got to walk the whole thing and you go super slow, you're going to learn so much. And what I found today is that everybody there was so supportive. Everyone knew that it was my first time. A couple of my other buddies, it was their first times. And they helped us walk through it, helped explain everything, made sure we know what we were doing, when we were doing it, before we needed to do it. 10 out of 10. I cannot wait already for next year's America match. This year was sponsored by Genesis Arms and East County Guns, so shout out to both them. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Thank you to all the volunteers that helped set this match up. What a day. Cannot wait for tomorrow. I'll report back then. Until then, go punch the day in the face. Reflections of day number 2 of the America match, hosted by Genesis Arms and East County Guns, and reflections on the match as a whole. Today started early in the morning again. Not early, but 8 a.m. So we were out at 8 a.m. And today we got to start on long range. So stage for us, it was 7 of 9. Was the long range stage out at Fernan. They have a range that goes out to about 460. For this particular stage, there were 3 stations with IPSC size silhouette steel target at 100, 200, 300, and 400 yards. And there was a 4-inch automatic popper steel at 100 yards as well. And so the stage was start at the leftmost obstacle, which was a tank trap, and work in the ladder. You had to hit 100, then 200, then 300, then 400, then back, hit the small popper, and then repeat 100, 200, 300, 400 before you could move. There were a couple of short-range targets between your positions. Second position was a VTAC board. and then a couple of short targets. And then a third position was just like a bench. And so total, you had to do the ladder 6 times. And we were being told that this was kind of a notorious timeout stage, that a lot of people were failing and timing out on this one. So that had us all pretty nervous, but we were also all very fortunate that it was our first stage of the day because it was cool air, there was no cross breeze, barrels were cold, so we had the best possible chance. A couple guys before me timed out, but being able to step up today and hit what I think was probably one of my best stages of the entire competition for stage 8 made me incredibly happy. Because honestly, I was pretty nervous about the long range. I don't have as long a rifle as some of those other guys. I'm running 14 and a half. And so, but that being said, I went on Friday here just a few days ago and actually worked out, re-zeroed at 100 and worked out and worked to a 400. And that came in really, really, really important because I was able to just actually knock down a lot of targets. Video is on the Instagram on a story highlight of the entire match and all the stages, so you can see that progression. But it'll also be here on the YouTube soon. So super stoked. I think the timeout was 180 seconds. I think I shot 136, which was I think second best in our group. So really, really happy with how that long range stage turned out today. Then we went back. It will be stage 8 for us. This was a straightforward but not so straightforward stage. In this one, there was basically no written stage directions, which means that it told you where to start and you had to shoot the targets. How you did that, where you did that from, as long as it was in the safe spots, was up to you. So got a little bit creative and kind of gamified this one and hit some kind of from across the match or across the stage, while respecting the 180 rule. That kind of saved me a couple seconds there, which was good. And so that stage went really well. Unfortunately, when I was kind of going across stage, I flew one high and I thought I hit it. So I had one failure to neutralize on that one because I hit it only once and needed to hit it twice. So not too bad though. And then the last stage for us, stage 9, was kind of interesting. It was an X pattern. And it was designed to almost kind of trick you into trying to go up to shoot some targets at the front. But because of the X, you could actually shoot them from the back, which is what most people did, which is what I did. And you didn't even have to advance in the farthest upmost part of the stage. And so I shot that one really quickly and really well. That was a perfectly clean run. I'm very, very happy about that one too. So all in all, day 2, I had 2 perfectly clean runs. I had 1 failure to neutralize, but all of my times were fast. And so I feel like I moved up the scoreboard today a lot, which made me incredibly happy. So it was a very, very good day. All in all, for the match, I ended up 17th out of 62. So incredibly happy about that, being that this was my first competition, having absolutely no idea what to expect, coming in completely cold. I had read the rules, but had never really practiced the rules per se. And to, never had run my gun in competition or anything like that. To shoot the way I did is a huge testament to, I think, number one, first and foremost, my shooting coach, Wes Sharp. Wes is a Marine who has been teaching me about every other week, working with me for about, now 3 months maybe. And so huge shout out to Wes. 97 Concepts is his company, and he does private shooting coaching. He loves working with people who are brand new. They maybe are just getting into guns or just want to get into guns, or maybe they shoot a little bit, but they want to be better. They want to work on fundamentals. That's his bread and butter. He also you can do some more advanced stuff as well. But so huge shout out to 97 Concepts, Wes Sharp. Thank you, Wes. Number of the stages were pretty physical, and so it was really nice to be in pretty good shape. So shout out to my CrossFit coach, Alana, for keeping me in good shape so that I could move my body quickly and well. So thank you to you. And all in all, I want to say a huge thank you to all of my sponsors, because frankly, I would not be here without you guys. And first and foremost, let's start out with G9 Ammo. Being able to have the support of you guys and to be able to run your rounds at this competition was key. I had absolutely no problems with any of the rounds. As always, they're always phenomenal. So huge thank you to G9. Gunfighters Inc. Man, Adam, the whole crew, you guys have always had my back and helped me with everything that I needed. So huge thank you to you, Stockpile Defense. If you guys have seen any of my YouTube stuff, I was all over there at the barbecue last weekend. Huge support from them down there. So thank you to Steve and the Stockpile crew, and Total Vice, to Howard, Jeff Howard's Total Vice, man. Jeff Howard, thank you so much. Appreciate you for being behind me on this. You helped get me to this competition, and I cannot wait. We're gonna have an upcoming video here on the YouTube of the best gun vise that you guys will ever find on the market. It's Howard's Total Vice. So huge shout out and thank you to them. Thank you to my wife Cassidy too for always being behind me and supporting me on this journey, and my Beyond Modes Chiropractic team for. Even when I'm a little bit distracted on this stuff, sometimes you guys are always there. And Dr. Brief taking care of me so my body runs well. There's so many people really to thank for my ability to even just be able to go out and do this. And I'm incredibly appreciative of you guys. Always will be, because this is a hell of a lot of fun. My biggest takeaways from running my first competition was that it was so much fun. I had a blast running this with great guys, great range officers, wonderful squad that we had. Got to do it with some friends as well. Just super cool match. I laughed more than I have in a long time out there, and so huge fun. And then man, I got to tell you how much better of a, I guess, competitive shooter I am after doing one freaking competition is massive. Because just showing up and completing this competition, I feel 1,000 times more confident going into the next competition. And I'm sure I'll feel even more confident then. But I think the first one is the big hurdle. If you can get over that first one and even just like show up, hell, even just go watch a shooting competition if you're interested in being a part of it. Just go watch one and you will understand so much better from just watching it what the purpose is, what's going on out there, what are the commands, what are the rules, how does the flow go. Highly recommend that. This is a fun sport, so if you're watching this video thinking about getting into shooting competitions, definitely do it. I have zero regrets about starting this journey. It's going to be an absolute blast, and I also feel like this was a very important stepping stone to the tactical games, which are now about less than 3 months away for me. My first one's going to be in September in South Carolina, and there are some moving and shooting stages, some two-gun sort of stages, and having the experience of this weekend is going to be absolutely crucial when I'm out there, because the flow is going to be the same, and I'm going to have that experience that I wouldn't have had before. So next thing coming up for me is I'm going to run the USPSA match out at Fernan here in a few weeks. This will be the June USPSA match, which runs here, if you're here locally, the third Saturday of every month, I believe. It's going to be now, instead of rifles, going to be pistol. And so, again, just kind of a different competition, different weapon, a little bit different rules. So that'll be a brand new experience as well, but very much looking forward to it. If you guys have any questions about this process, this journey, my experience, what I would have done again, what I wouldn't do, anything like that, please post comment or message me. If you're finding this on YouTube, you can go to my Instagram at thetacticaldoc. Always open for questions there. But I hope you love this stuff. If you want to be a part of this journey, hit the subscribe button, because I would love to have you along with me. Until then, go punch the day in the face.